Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Ankush here from Alif Consulting. Welcome in our Azure weekly update video series. In this video, we will be going to talk about all of these updates which has been released by Microsoft in the last week. Now, let's quickly deep dive into these updates. So the first update which has been released by Microsoft is the platform level of the support. So Microsoft have released new uh, processor-based VM series, which is Ampere Ultra ARM-based processor. So this is something which is specifically based on the AI-related workload. So if you have any kind of AI-related workloads or any memory-intensive workloads, like the open source databases, memory in cache application, or data analytics engine, then you can use these series, right? So there is three different types of series has been there. For the general purpose, we have DPS v5 or DPDS v5. So the difference in between these two is that DPS is going to only support the standard storage account, but DPDS is going to support the premium storage as well. The other one is DPLS v5 and DPL DSV5. So both of them is going to be have a same kind of concern. Like the one is going to have the supported with the standard storage, and the another one is supported with the premium storage. The one more VM series which has been released with this new processor is memory optimized, which is EPS v5 and the EPS DSV5. So these are the new series which has been released with new processor, which is Ampere Ultra ARM based processor. So, yep, that's the first update which has been released by Microsoft. The other update we have is the Data Explorer Costo emulator. So the Costo emulator is the Docker container encapsulating the Costo query engine available locally in a Docker container. The Costo emulator was designed to enable the local deployment and automated testing and it's a free offering. So this has been done. This has been released by Microsoft. So with this one, what you can do, like if you really want to do any kind of query engines, or if you want to done any deployments on locally and done any kind of tested, you can use it this Costo emulator for Azure Data Explorer. The another update which we have is authentication to a service was using the managed identity. So this is something which is a long awaited feature, because initially there was no way of having the authentication using the managed identity, but now Microsoft have solved the common problem by changing this authentication method. You can use the managed identity, and this managed identity, with managed identity you no longer need to remember the pass keys or the passwords. You can use the managed identity to authenticate with your service bus with any of the service, right? So that's the update is related to the service bus we have. The another update which we have is very important in terms of how you use the streaming analytics. So Microsoft have allowed us now to directly integrate or do the output directly into the streaming analytics for Azure database for PostgreSQL. So it's a very easy to configuration. We don't need to do any kind of configuration changes. We just need to go into the streaming analytics, and we need to select the output source from where we want to get the output. So that's it. There's no any changes in terms of coding or anything is required. The another update which we have is managed private endpoint support for Synapse SQL output. This is again a very important in terms of how your resources is being connected. As we know, Synapse is completely a PaaS services. So again, it's going to be have the public endpoint to secure those kind of things, or to have the private endpoint for the connectivity. We can now have the private endpoint enabled on the Synapse. That's allow us to have the private communication for all the output based scenarios. The another update which we have is up to 45% performance gain into the stream process. Again, this is a very important thing, alright, because this is something is going to boost your performance for CPU intensive job by default. And with this improvement, what exactly it's going to do? It's going to reduce the number of streaming unit which has been assigned to your streaming processes, and it's going to be save your cost as well without impacting the performance. So as you can see, there's a lines in the picture. The one is blue and one is the orange one. So the blue one is what earlier when how this streaming process is utilizing the resources. But again, when the performance enhancement happen, you can see it's basically reduced 45%, and the performance is increased much in terms of how the streaming processing are happening. The another update which we have is resource instances rules for accessing the storage account. Again, this is a very important thing to how you connect with the storage account, because earlier we have the private endpoints, we have the user base authentication using the Azure Active Directory for file share or the Active Directory domain service. We do have the Azure Firewall storage account, or sorry, the Azure Firewall on the storage account, which we can use to how to control the connection, and then we can integrate the Azure storage account with the VNet as well to allow the communication on on specific virtual network. But now this has been completely changed. The resource instance rules enable secure connectivity to a storage account by restricting the access to specific resources of the Azure services. This is kind of the layered security module, which basically allow us to control and secure the connection, like how exactly we want to control it, or the way we want to control the access for the storage account. We can basically configure the limited access to storage account from the virtual IP addresses, from the virtual network, or for the IP addresses range. At the same time, some Azure services operate on the multi-tenant infrastructure, so we can also restrict these kind of resources, and we can basically also have the restrictions like if the resources cannot be connected, if there is any resources which has been deployed into the different tenant, or into the different subscription, if they want to allow for the communication or not, that's something we can also control by this new feature, right? So the resource instance must be in the same tenant as your storage account, but they must belong to any resource group or the subscription in the tenant. So this is something which you can do within a tenant. If you really want to control, or you want to allow, or want to have a specific communication between the storage account and the instances, they must be in a subscription under the same tenant. Then only you would be able to do it. Well, that's it in the Azure weekly update video. I hope you like this video. If you like, please click on like and subscribe for more upcoming videos, and feel free to reach us if you have any questions. Thank you.